24 Hours of a Christmas Story, which is in and of itself, I consider a Christmas TV special, where they air the film, the 1983 classic Christmas comedy film, A Christmas Story, directed by Bob Clark, for 24 hours. It usually starts around like Christmas Eve, like 5 p.m., and then
something like that.
It goes until the next day. Where do we start with this? How did this find its way into your life? Did you grow up with this?
Yeah, it was one of the things. It was like a tiny bit later, but not like 10 or 12-ish. Because I think what happened, and I mean, this is part of the story of this movie, is came out in 83, and it didn't really do all that well.
No, not at all.
And I don't know what happened, but I think it was about the time I saw it. Like, we had a VHS or a DVD. Like, someone's like, you gotta see this. And it just sort of, this was pre, like, internet, like, Uber Alles kind of era.
Right.
Where it's like, things were more like spread of word of mouth or TV or radio.
Right.
But somehow this thing just exploded.
Yeah.
And like the year I remember seeing it, I think everyone was hearing about it, but it was this new thing, this new relic being rediscovered by everyone.
Would you call it a cult film?
I'm almost reluctant to say so because it's transcended that.
Yeah. It's a movement.
Yeah, because like to me, when I think of cult film, I think of like Rocky Horror Picture Show is like an obvious one.
Whereas this is a fixture of like American Christmas, celebration.
Again, this is obvious God tier.
Yeah, no, it's not close.
We're skipping scores.
It's a perfect score.
Yeah, obvious.
It's probably in my top 100 favorite movies ever.
Yeah, I would say
it might
somewhere.
be in my top 50.
Yeah,
if I'm honest, it might be. But
if we're talking top Christmases,
it's in the top 5, 3 even maybe.
Oof, man.
It'd be between this and like
say.
Home Alone and like Elf.
I love Elf, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's like Home Alone 1 and 2, Elf, this.
I would count those
Santa
as the
Claus.
same movie. Home Alone 1 and 2.
All right, so Home Alone, Elf, and this, probably top 3.
Santa Claus, honorable mention.
Yeah.
But this...
Well, I mean, really, Jingle All the Way is like better than all of these. I kind of forgot.
That is and you know what? I'll defend that as being very brilliant satire any day of the week. But as for A Christmas Story, this is going back in my life. I don't remember when I watched this for the first time. That's how like part of my life this is. Like I probably watched this like a few times before, like probably when I was 1 or 2. I don't really remember like the first time I watched it. Like it's been like that much of a constant. It's like, and that's what's so weird is like watching this academically. I was like, it's just so weird because this has just always been the thing that's like it's on in the background when like I come home and like my mom's wrapping gifts or like you're eating dinner or whatever. It's like it's just always on during this time of year and you take it for granted. Yeah. But yeah, this was interesting to watch.
And I think even though everyone and at least now considers this a classic, I think there's a lot that's underrated.
Yes.
Even with what people think is good about it.
So much underrated, specifically certain scenes and lines of dialogue.
Right. And I'll go through them, as I have listed a few. Underrated, that includes Not a Finger!
Not a Finger!
I love how it's like, Gene Shepard, we'll get to that later. But
oh, man.
It's just the way it's like, and all he could muster back was, Not a Finger! It's just like, I don't know what it is about that line. It just cracks me up.
Darren fucking McGavin.
Yeah.
He's Billy Madison's dad, and he's the old man.
He was also the bad guy in Captain America who said, in the first 1990s one, all our work, all our years, right down the crapper. Classic. Okay, so there's that. Underrated, annoying look on that girl's face when she points to Flick out the door.
Yeah.
She's like she's acting like she's acting like the teacher asked like what's that smell? And she's like the way she's smirking. It's just like it's
chewing the scenery.
It's so annoying. It's just like
this isn't your movie, kid.
Yeah, it's like what are you pointing at a pile of shit like
in the corner?
That's what I mean. Like that's what I always think. She's like, it's like
that's the face I would make. I'd be like, you didn't see that when you walked in. You couldn't notice the smell?
That's what I'm saying. It's like the look on her face. It's just like, She's like, I don't want to laugh too hard because that'll open my mouth. I don't want to smell.
I don't want to throw up.
The kid with the poor boy cap.
Holy cow! It's the fire department.
He's got two underrateds. How annoying is that? Department. Holy cow! It's the fire department.
Oh, wow! It's the cops.
Yeah, he says the cops normally, but also his look when Flick gets stuck.
Oh, he's like shitting his pants. Like it worked. Oh man, that's great.
It's like that to me. That's amazing acting for just one tiny shot.
The kid acting in this is on point.
Well,
like,
yeah.
When a child screams in this, you really think that like the fear of God is like coursing through their fucking bodies. You're like, this kid is like scared shitless right now.
Yeah. Well, also underrated, Ralphie's Fantasies.
Oh man,
how pitch perfect are those?
Weirdly enough, I didn't identify with how accurate they were. How accurate they were for kids. Like, until I was much older. Like, the fantasy of him being punished by his mom with the soap and then coming home with
like
soap
blind,
poisoning.
yeah.
I'm like, I had so many fantasies like this of like, I'll show my parents. Yeah. I'm going to run away. Then they'll feel sorry. It's like, oh my God, every kid has thought this.
Well, you know what I think is like the perfect, like what makes those so good, especially though, is like when you're a kid, your imagination is overcooked. Yeah, it's overcooked, like overactive.
Right.
And overactive imagination, overacting.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And they all do it. They all ham it up, and it's perfect. It's like this.
A+.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's like I felt like when I was a little kid, and I just like daydreamed about shit. Like that's always how I imagined it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't imagine how like people actually acted and talked.
Right.
They're just like, you know, when you're a little kid, like everything's a Tennessee Williams play. It's just like no one fucking talks like that. Right. No one. But it just works so perfectly.
Your mom shows up and starts laughing at you in a jester suit.
Yeah, yo, shoot your eye out. or your family is trapped under your kitchen table.
Yeah.
Because the bad guys are outside.
And your mom's clutching like a napkin, and
your
dad's got a coonskin cap on, or was that Randy that had?
Also, there is an editing goof in that scene.
Really?
Technically speaking. No, but I did notice, like, the mom and the dad flip sides.
Oh, really?
Not that it really matters. For those of you playing at home, do you like IMDb-style editing goofs? Probably not. If so, tell us how much you hate when people point those out in the comment section.
Yeah.
But the fantasy scenes, like, they're perfect.
And they're so... well, that's another thing that I liked is the element of, like, super realism or hyper realism where, like, that'll come in or, like, there'll suddenly be fast motion. Like, I love those where they're running away from Scud Farkas. And it's just, like, their voices are high and... But you can clearly still hear Randy say, "Come on, you guys, wait up! Come on, guys, wait up!"
Yeah.
Randy laid there like a slug. It was his only defense. Petition to have that get put on the fucking AFI's top 100 quotes, because that is one of my favorite quotes fucking ever. Like, doesn't matter what Christmas, doesn't matter how old I am.
All right, let's
kills me.
Let's talk about Gene Shepard.
Oh man,
I mean, there's the man of the hour. Like he wrote this because it was apparently based on a number of things he wrote, but there was something called "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash."
Yes,
and that was like it was. I think this movie was based on that, which is a collection of different stories.
Mm-hmm. And it was also based on some elements from another book that he had called Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories, I guess.
Yeah. And
so it was an amalgamation of a bunch of different things.
Well, it was that, and I think he was doing a college tour.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely his baby.
Yeah. Though. Yeah, he was doing some college tour, I think, and I don't know if he like had it written. It was just, I don't know, like a speech thing or whatever.
This is an element of the movie that I always took for granted. And if we're talking about like the gap between like me appreciating certain Christmas movies as a kid versus an adult, I've grown to so fucking appreciate Gene Shepard's narration so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because like, you know, I'm going to school now and I can understand his vocabulary because it's so colorful and just like, it's like poetry. You know, like the way he'll put certain things, and I'm like, I never would have gotten it as a kid.
I mean, there's certain phrases I kind of use just because they're just so pertinent sometimes. Like,
my father wove a tapestry of obscenity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so fucking apt.
Well, it's not only that. It's like it's so ultra expressive. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and you know exactly what he means.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, in addition to he'll say like what he says, and then you see it, and you're like, "Yep, this is going together." It meshes perfectly. And another one of those moments is they looked at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. I mean, aside from Gene Shepherd, just there's so much. There's so many phrases from this. They're just part of the American lexicon.
From the just quote.
Like this here's a tree.
Yeah. Now this here is a tree.
That's a class. Like I say that shit all the time whenever I'm like, you know, looking for like something. I want the best one. I'm like, this here's a tree. It doesn't matter what the hell I'm looking for. It could
this
be
isn't one of those trees where all the needles fall off, right? No, that's them balsams.
Yeah.
I mean, there's fudge.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, Fred
Only
G.
I didn't say fudge.
Only I didn't say fudge. I said the word. The F dash word.
I gotta say, I kind of love that on Family Guy. Only I didn't say fudge. I said boo.
I said fuck. Also, another underrated quote. Don't bother me. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I love that. It's so funny because it's like that's so perfect. That's such a perfect representative of his age, where it's like you're sort of getting older. You're still a young kid, but there's just certain shit you're just not in the mood for, and it's
I'm a grown up now. Get away from me, Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, it's like please leave me alone. Yeah, like you know, as one. It's like an Easter bunny was like trying to like put his arm around me and shit, and I turn around like get the fuck away from me. It's just like, you know, it's like, hey, it's like, please leave me alone.
I'm not your audience, man.
Yeah, dude, read The Room.
Right.
Man.
But there's just so much in this to adore, and I know you've got some more.
Well, let's see. Okay, so I talked about the underrated stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's another underrated. Cinematography.
Yeah, it looks decidedly old-fashioned. In a good way.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this feels like this takes place in like 1950, you know, 48 or whatever it's supposed to take place.
Well, it's like right before TV.
Yeah.
As we see Ralphie crowding about the radio for his favorite radio program, Little Orphan Annie. Yep.
God, and the decoder ring.
Right. But like the crane shot from the beginning, it's like, welcome. It's like, this is your Winter Wonderland. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing is like, I think you may have mentioned this a little bit earlier about like the hyper realism.
Yeah,
that's what makes the fantasy scene so good. Is like it's so realistic, or mostly.
Yeah, I mean it's aside even so from much.
Like,
where it's like you have narration. Like there's a lot of lines that I missed because like I was listening to the narration as a kid, but like they'll have like the characters in the scene will still be saying dialogue. And, like, Gene Shepherd will be narrating over it. And, like, when I was watching this, I'm like, I'm going to try and listen for some of those lines, and they're great. Like, there's little hidden lines, like, said by characters. Like, did you catch the one with Schwartz's mom?
What was that?
Where the mom calls over and tries to ask, or she calls to tell him that Ralphie said the F word and learned it from Schwartz.
She's like, you learned it from his father.
I never caught that as a kid. I didn't.
Come on, that's
never heard it.
You can hear it clear as a bell.
No, we never. TV's loud enough.
Those of you playing at home. Did you hear her say that? Because I thought you could hear it pretty clearly.
Yeah, no, it wasn't until like a few years ago where I was like, man, that's a fun line.
I love those kinds of jokes where it's like one person says something and then someone says the exact same thing and it's just because they know.
Yeah, and they're right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you mean this? And it's like, yep.
No, he heard it from your son.
What? See, that's the thing is like, that was like one of those moments where it's like it's a little amped up because you gotta punch up the comedy. But I think there's something of there. It's such a perfect depiction of like the frenzy of Christmas season and the frenzy of Christmas Day.
Yeah, Jesus.
I can't tell you how much I love that montage where they're just going to
tearing presents.
I remember I used to watch this before, like we used to watch this like Christmas Eve a couple times. I just remember watching that scene like as a little kid, just getting amped up. You know what I mean? It's like watching like game film if you're about to like play. You got a game.
Your next game.
Yeah.
Wow, what's this? That's mine. Wow, what's this?
When they both get the socks in unison, throw them. It's perfect. So let's talk about that score.
Yeah, man.
Talk about visual scores.
Oh, man. It's like the most expressive of like all Christmas scores.
It's like, it's very, Peter and the Wolf-esque.
Yeah, every cue fits every thing that's
what I mean.
on.
It's so cue heavy and it's so perfect.
Personal favorite? Boom, 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 boom.
Dun, dun. Yeah. When he's in deep shit.
In every, like, that happens, like, when he says the F word, when he shoots himself.
Yeah.
It happens in every scene where something shitty happens. When he gets the F back, or the C+.
Yeah.
C+.
Well, talk about expressive, or rather matching the scene. The bumpus dogs. You got some, you got some jugs and some jaw harps.
Oh, that's great.
You know what I'd like to see is a movie score with just jugs and jaw harps.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a Bumpus's origin story spinoff.
Oh, God, please don't. Well, that kills me that there's a second one to this.
Oh, there's an official second one, but there was that. Remember we had that game where I was quizzed you on the Christmas Story sequels, that My Summer Story movie.
Well, yeah, so that was based on other Gene Shepard stuff.
I think it was based on like the second half of his the In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash book.
Yeah,
or part of it.
Number of things,
but not the same.
Yeah,
not the same as this.
Also, interesting thing to note about this movie. And I was listening to some of the commentary last night, and they were talking about how this movie was more like a series of vignettes.
Yeah.
Which again makes sense because of the way the book is, or rather, since it's the book and a number of other writings of his.
And it makes sense because in many ways, I mean, as we mentioned, it's we're not actually mentioning about this, but of the Christmas special for the Peanuts, this is like a slice of season movie. This is the story of Ralphie's favorite Christmas.
Slice of life. Well, it's that line about it's like the day in which all kids what the fuck
all
is
kiddom?
No, the one where it's like something about like the calendar year.
Oh, yeah. Ho, 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 but no matter, Christmas was on its way. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas, upon which the entire kid year revolved.
I can so relate to that, because as a little kid, I remember, Christmas was the big day.
It sure was. I mean, I know when I was a kid, like, these are the 3 best months of the year. Like, you had Halloween, and then you had Thanksgiving, which was the bottom of the 3 holidays, but still pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
fuck being thankful, brah.
Right.
Who needs that?
Fuck turkey, man.
Yeah, who needs it?
Right. And then you had Christmas, which was, I mean, it's all about the presents when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think this movie perfectly captures that. I mean, I know as a kid there was always the one thing I wanted most for Christmas. It was like that game console, that Lego set, that, Jedi lightsaber building kit or whatever the hell it was. But there was always one thing. And for Ralphie, it was the Red Ryder BB gun.
That's another thing. I like that he's so fixated on that's the one thing he wants.
Right.
Oh
yeah. There's so much in this that's, I mean, we really got to sing the praises of this. I mean, everybody likes this, right?
Extended deep sea diving. Every time I go running when it's cold out,
you get ready for extended deep sea diving.
Every time I think about that quote, I'm like, getting ready for school is like getting ready for extended deep sea diving. Because, like, I don't know. It's like I like to run outside. I don't know. I'm just not a treadmill type guy. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when it's cold, like when it's, below 30, like 25-ish degrees, and I'm just like getting ready, putting on all this shit. I'm like, man, in summer I don't have to put any of this shit on. And I always think of Randy getting ready for school, and how he can't put his arms down or any of that.
Can't put my arms down.
See what else we got. All right, talk about his only defense.
It's just it's a gut buster.
Darren McGavin. You know what's amazing about him? His performance in this. He worked so well as like the center of attention in the scene, but he also is just so great at little add-ons. You know, there's like that one thing he's just so exasperated. His nephew's horse is named Victor. How the hell did you know that? You just can't believe it.
You used up all the glue on purpose.
Man, he's.
Oh man, another great thing when he's putting the fucking lamp back together and the mom in the background is like trying hard not to fucking laugh.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's something I always forget and it just kills me every time I see it.
How about that lamp?
Oh,
that's become such an iconic thing.
I have a neighbor on the way out of my subdivision. They have a lamp. They have a leg lamp in the window.
We used to have one, or I think we still have it in storage somewhere.
Yeah, my brother's got a mini one in his den. I mean, it's just like it's a part of culture.
That's what's so amazing is it's like such an arbitrarily not Christmas thing that became so associated with Christmas just because this movie is so wildly popular now. And I guess, let's see. Oh, fun fact, this was directed by Bob Clark, who directed Porky's.
Who directed Porky's and one of my least favorite movies ever.
What's that?
Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2.
Really?
As well as Baby Geniuses 1, which sucks.
See, you know what? That honestly doesn't surprise me that he directed Porky's, because honestly, Porky's has great characters, and it's also very slice of life.
Yes.
It's just a little grosser.
Yeah. A lot more old-fashioned in some ways that aren't so great, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but
Me neither.
I remember liking it kind of, but
it's like such a baby boomer dad movie. Like it's like one of my dad's favorite movies because he watched it probably when he was like 17 or 18.
Like Animal House or something.
Yeah, same
like
deal.
That same ilk.
He also directed Black Christmas, as you know well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did he? Seriously?
Yeah, you knew that.
No, I feel like I didn't know that.
So 2 Christmas movies
of
different...
2 fine Christmas movies.
Right.
One about getting weapons and one about getting killed.
By them, yeah.
Well, exactly. No, but there's really not much else to say except for the fact that this is really... It's one of those movies where it's the complete package. The score, the editing, the...
acting, the writing...
the cinematography, yeah.
It's the big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
sure
it's
is.
a perfect score for me.
Well, I mean, we've both seen this 100 times, and we had stated earlier, it's an obvious perfect score for both of us. And if you don't mind the fact that we basically just went through it blow for blow, except for the bully scene, I guess we left that out. Anyway, if you don't...
He had yellow eyes, so help me.
God, yellow eyes. But if you don't mind the fact that we essentially gave you the whole movie blow for blow, I suggest you check it out now because it's a fantastic movie and it's perfect for the Christmas season.